Hey there, YouTube. I'm Ikitsu. This is the Ikitsu Times. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to a little bit of Sins of Solar Empire 2. So today we're combining a lot of different concepts into a bit of a video here. It took me actually a long time to figure out how to do this. But what we're doing here, we're showing off a bit of a build, how to beat the AI in this game. We're playing against the impossible difficulty AI in this one. And yeah, we're also showing some other things that people are asking. One of them was build orders, and we're going to go into why I think that that's a little bit difficult to talk about. Another person was asking about the Aria drone hosts, how to use them effectively. And there was another question about there's not a question, but people are talking about the Vigilus and saying that's not a very good ship, and I disagree with that. Same thing for the Justitia. We're going to be using all of those here. We're playing as Advent Reborn. And yeah, we're going to show you guys a few things here. So first of all, some of the stuff I'm doing is only really necessary against the impossible AI. I wouldn't say that it's necessary against the easier AI. But when we talk about build orders in this game, we can't really get super concrete, do this, do this, do this, instruction manual style build orders. And the reason is the maps are not very consistent. And that's not just like this particular map is different from a different map. Sometimes even the same map can actually have different situations going on in it. Some of the planets are going to be randomly generated for the map you're in. They'll have different types, or they'll have some sort of planets will be swapped from one type to a different one. And that can change up what you have to do in terms of your techs, because you'll have to research how to get to that planet type potentially. And you may even have to go up the research tree further to get access to that planet type. So whether or not you're capable of doing a specific build depends a little bit on what map you're on. This map as well, for example, there's no Lithor cluster. This is the Lithor cluster, by the way, for the map. There's no specific build order for the starting moves that you can rely on, because you're going to end up with one of two types of starts. Here we can expand to this volcanic world, which is always on the bottom side, or the Arctic world, which is always on the top side. But there's another spawn where you can start off with access to these two planets, plus 2 asteroids. We can't reach those with our first jump here. So because of that, what we want to do is get access to either the volcanic embrace or Arctic embrace, so that we can get those planets right away. If we don't do that, we have to sort of like jump all the way down to here, then jump all the way to an asteroid, which takes time. It's sort of wasting time. By contrast, if we start with those asteroids, we can jump to that asteroid, and instead of getting these techs first, we can actually get Homeworld Prophecy first, which is a much better tech to get originally. We could also, if we want, instead get the Commerce Integration, which is also a good thing to start with. But regardless, it lets us open up a tech that gets us money immediately rather than taking this time. It also gets us that asteroid, which starts producing credits for us a little bit faster than the Arctic or the volcanic worlds, because those we take a little bit longer to actually unlock. So because of that, there's 2 different ways that you have to start this one, and there's a bunch of different ways that you can decide to expand here, but you can't just set in stone say that you're going to get this, then you're going to get this, then you're going to get this. So that's one of the things about this. So let's take a look as well. So this is what we can do as a definite start. We're starting off with a Temple of Harmony and a Temple of Hostility. And this is a replay. We're not actually playing right now. I always start with the Temple of Harmony first. That's going to be the first building we want to get. And the reason is there's more important things in the Harmony research that we need right away. We want to get this Volcanic Embrace first, because they're going to build these things separately. They're going to build one, then they're going to build the other. So there's going to be about a minute difference in terms of your tech. Regardless, though, you want to get Harmony research a little bit faster during the early game than the Temple of Hostility. The other thing that we're getting on our homeworld planet is Shrine of Revelation. You can also get the Shrine of Prophecy. Either of them are fine. It's just going to depend on what you're prioritizing. Shrine of Revelation is going to be a little bit better in the early game when you're worried about getting more of these Harmony researches done faster, because you want that increased income really, really quickly. But the Hostility research actually has way more stuff in it. Either way, you're going to get 25% bonus research rate by getting this building early. So I do definitely recommend actually getting it right away, as opposed to waiting, even though we're not actually going to be going up to Tech 2 in the Harmony tree there. So Shrine, Temple of Harmony, Temple of Hostility, one of your 2 shrines, depending on what you want there. And we're going to unlock both of our Tier 1s. We're not going to unlock any of our Tier 2. We're going to just unlock Tier 1 of technology here. So get that clicked there. And depending on the map, there's different ways to do the starts here. But what we're doing here, I'm starting with the Mothership. I think that the Mothership is the best beginner-friendly capital ship for the Advent. The shield ability is extremely powerful for holding the line during the early game and making it so that your mast starts developing harder and faster than your opponents can. So the Mothership is extremely good for that. The other relatively beginner-friendly ships are the Halcyon, which is a little bit trickier, and the Radiance. The Revelation and the Rapture I don't think are actually very good start ships, regardless of how good you are. You could be a really good player and you can make it work, but I don't think that they're ideal choices there. So we're going to start with the Mothership. I've taken a shine into taking the actual colonization ability from the Mothership early, but it's not that good of an ability. It's just fine. And what we're going to do is create a second group here. And this one's going to contain 5 disciples and 1 missionary. These disciples and missionary are only important for Lithocluster and some other types of maps. But basically, we're creating our expansion groups based on the assumption that we can take the planets with the Mothership by itself. So it's going to go around, capture a bunch of planets by itself. And the other group is going to capture all of our asteroids for us. So let's take a look at what's going on here. So Mothership comes out, it's going to start immediately heading towards the volcanic world, and we're going to start creating this other group that's going to go ahead and start moving its way across here over towards the asteroid. If you're wondering how I got all this queued up and built immediately, it's because I paused the game as soon as the game started just so I can build it. I don't have good actions per minute, so I give myself that little bit of a handicap just so I don't have to like strain myself too much trying to get that done while in full speed. But that is the only time I pause during this game. You can really see like all these weird little structures that Advent planets have. I kind of wish the vehicles were a little bit more distinct. They just look like little chips, but not ships. They look like chips. They look like sprinkles. I'm not even sure if they are actually individually skinned for the different factions, but it's really hard to tell what they look like. Anyhow, so we're hopping our capital over here, our Mothership. What we want to do for Advent and Visari is to kill the Guard of Flak Frigate first. And you're going to see we're going to go after that here. The reason is that this thing has the ability to drop your DPS. So killing it first is your priority. And once we've gotten rid of that, we can deal with the Krosov Siege Frigate. And at that point, you're allowed to colonize the planet, but we won't have the technology done. It's just a good idea to have that as soon as possible so that we can get our tech... as soon as our tech is done, we'll immediately colonize. So you can see that I'm now moving towards the Krosov. It's going to also put us closer to the planet. And that's going to make it so that we're able to colonize that just a little bit faster than otherwise. Here you can see that asteroid that I was talking about. For this particular map, you have to check what the asteroids have on them, because some of them are going to have additional sort of loot areas, like they've got a salvageable wreckage. Those salvageable wreckages are great, but they also make it so that the defenses there can outmatch your just regular little expansion group of like 5 disciples. 5 disciples will not be able to fight their way through one of those. They can, however, fight through their way through one of these basic asteroids. We're taking a look here. We can see this planet here. It's got these like 2 extra javelises, thanks to this derelict loot that we've got here. This thing is enough that it would actually just kill off the 5 disciples, because they're not very strong. In terms of tech here, obviously we were going for that volcanic embrace right away, but for hostility we're also going for tech here. I like getting the refined laser cannons as the first one. It makes the expansion a little bit faster because we're killing off targets a bit faster. And as soon as we get this volcanic embrace done, we're going to have our Mothership go back there and just start beating up those guys. So we've got the colonization ability, but we're going to get shield regeneration shortly after that. Now, one of the things that I do know about this match is that I did deliberately set it up to fight the Visari Alliance. I did that just because I want to avoid fighting a Visari Exodus. Part of this was we wanted to use the Aria drone hosts. You can see that now that we got the tech, we're immediately moving to colonize the planet. But if we're playing with Aria drone hosts and we're doing that strategy, then I really don't want to be playing into Visari Exodus. I also don't want to play a mirror match, so I deliberately selected the faction that we'd be playing against. What we don't know, however, is also whether or not we're playing against the aggressive AI or the defensive AI. And what they are actually makes a huge difference as to how well you can do certain types of plays. So that is something that we should be thinking about, but since we can't actually control that if we set it to random, we do have to sort of just roll with whatever we get. If you want to play this a little bit easier, set the AI to something specific. So that way you know whether it's going to rush you or if it's going to defend. Because knowing that ahead of time is going to be really, really strong there. Here we got the Homeworld Prophecy. Now that we've got this one world here, the volcanic world, we've got time to get a bunch of other tech. So we're getting this Homeworld Prophecy, we're getting this commerce integration. That's all going to help us out quite a bit. I could have actually left those Cobalt Light frigates alive, but that's not really what we're up to here. Here we can see we got the shield regeneration ability. Planet has been colonized. We got commerce right away is what we're getting. We're leaving the metals a little bit. We don't have the money to actually get these mining techs up. But as soon as we can, that would be something we want to do. Over here, Disciples chasing down this Krosov. They're going to capture this planet once the colony ship catches up. They were a bit behind. Got this new civilian tech tier, so we can soon get this new level of commerce here. And getting these commerce levels up early is what we want to be doing, just so that we don't have this problem of not having enough credits. Because our credit income during the super early game as Advent is a little bit rough, but it goes up pretty quickly, so it's not something I actually worry about too much. It's just you have to fight to get it. In fact, we're going to be getting Tech 2 fairly soon, and then we're going to be getting Commerce Adaptation and the Tide Sanctums. That's going to make it so we're capable of getting a lot of credits. We can actually start catching up a little bit. I should be doing a better job scouting. One of the things that we want is to actually have this group check out what's over here, and then once we figure that out, we can see if we want to actually take this planet or not. We're completing all these quests. I do recommend actually completing these. These are a great way to earn this extra bit of money, and with this extra money, we can sort of bootstrap our way into these other techs here. Getting Temple of Communion early as well, that makes it so that we can use our ally population bonus, especially on our home planet. That's very, very strong. Our opponent got unlucky here. They've got this irradiated world, which is a lot harder to colonize and is not very good for Visari. They're actually really weak. We, on the other hand, got a barren planet, which is actually really good for Advent. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this up. We're going to play this at ×2 speed here. And as you can see, doing the same sort of thing here. We're going after this because I haven't got us queued up yet, but you can see me diverting down to get the Garda. And once we've killed this thing off, we're going to switch over to the Krosov. We've already got Arctic Embrace, so we could actually go for this guy first, but I do think that's better to have the damage per second be a bit faster there. I don't think I actually do pay attention to this, and I do think that we end up shooting at the Cobalts for way too long, but it's not the worst thing in the world if I'm busy doing other stuff that's relatively fine here. So we do jump over here, and I think that I just did that by random. If I had the scout here, what we want is actually to send the scout off to these side areas, and I can see this one's off that way. Then we want to send it over to there. What we're doing with these scouts that are heading out in these directions is looking for the minor factions. Once we've got access to those, that will be actually pretty useful to have. We can actually take a look here at what the AI is doing, I think. Watch as my stuff just crashes here. And we can see that the AI is sort of just doing their expansion. One of the things about Visari is that they expand a little bit more slowly than we do. Just because they have to take their first home planet, but after that they catch up pretty quickly. They're just building a bunch of the Revestra Skirmishers, which are a pretty powerful ship, and we can see that they've just got unlimited money. This is the advantage they've got for having the very impossible AI here. By contrast, we're running on fumes compared to them. It's actually virtually impossible to catch up in terms of the eco element of this, so don't even bother with that if you're up against impossible AI. So we're focusing on just trying to make sure that we're going to be able to take really, really good trades against them. I accidentally screw up here. There's this one little Cobalt that's still alive. We're going to have to send in an extra little group over there. One of the things I'm doing that might be a little bit odd is I've got this group of disciples that are sitting here. We've actually just been building them. The reason I don't send them with the mothership to have them help expand is actually because the mothership at low levels can't really keep them alive, so I'll just be losing and bleeding a bunch of disciples for not really much extra speed. They do help you colonize a little bit faster, but not a whole ton. At this point in time, we have got our Harmony research up, and we've also stopped getting hostility research, basically. We're going to still get a little bit out of this. We still need the novice side training, and we need the inspired reactor design. But for the most part, we're actually kind of fine on what we're doing there for a little bit. For this, we want to get the shield regeneration up to 2, and then after that, we want to get Unity Meditation, and then so on and so forth. Civilian research up to tier 3. That's going to make it so that we can get even more money off of our main world here. Let's see how long it takes me to figure that out. Probably actually takes me a couple minutes, honestly. I'm busy doing something else there. So we've rushed over to Salopia, and this is where we're going to start talking about another thing. Playing against the very hard AI, it's a really good idea to rely heavily on static defenses. So here we're getting the Gauss weapon platform because we found these minor factions. That's up to luck. You may not have access to them. But being able to slam down a bunch of turrets just in general is really, really strong against the AI. I think it might be impossible to beat the impossible difficulty AI without structures of some sort, because they're capable of massing up enough forces that they can attack you in multiple spots. And one of the most cost-effective things in the game is your turrets. So here we can see I sent my extra squad just to go deal with this one Cobalt that we left behind by accident. Because oops. So here we're fighting our way through Moronis. In this case, I'm actually fighting the Javelises first. The reason we're trying to kill off the Javelises first is simply because the Javelises do too much damage. If I leave them alive, then we're going to take too much damage on our mothership. So even though there is the fact that we've lost a bunch of damage to the Garda, we have lost the opportunity to quickly kill the Krosov. It does make it so that our mothership is just nowhere near as badly damaged there. Got Tight Sanctums unlocked there. We're starting to build those. I still haven't gotten this Commerce 3 because I'm an idiot, but that's fine. It might also be because I just don't have enough money for it, but I think we actually do right now. You can see we're starting to build more and more and more of these laser defense platforms. We want to sort of be building them here because we know this is the likely invasion route for the Visari. There is the other planet here. There's Lotharos, whatever. But the more likely one is definitely Salopia. I think they actually do end up attacking us at Lotharos, though, instead. So that's one of those interesting things there. We can actually take a look here, try and find that. I'm not doing the best job of scouting or anything like that. That's not really the biggest priority for us. We are going to go ahead and take Xantra. And Xantra here is another buffer planet here. Actually, we might be going for Pelion first. I can't remember what we take. Because of all the stuff that was here, we ended up taking forever to take this one planet, but... And over here we've also got our little Disciple Squad. They're running in to take out these Javelises so we can get rid of them faster. And Salopia is just going to continue getting these guys. Even if we don't get attacked here first necessarily, we do want to have them in place there. And here we can see a bunch of Visari here, a very, very large Visari fleet. Getting ready to take Rolla, and they've got all those Revestra skirmishers there. So I believe that they actually rush over to Salopia very, very early here, while we're still building stuff there. And I think that, if I recall correctly, we actually rushed over to there without actually finishing this planet off by getting the artifact there, but that's relatively fine. We finally got this queued up because I'm slow and stupid. And we're starting to get the increased income from metals and stuff like that on some of these other planets. I think I was considering not actually leveling up Lotharos. Yeah, here we can see that Salopia is being jumped on here. We've got a good amount of defenses here. We've got 5 laser turrets. We're going to start working on a 6th, so that's already coming up. And this is not going to be enough to actually fend off this attack. Not at all. We're focus firing down these Revestra skirmishers. You want to actually just click your icon for your turrets, and then you want to control-click the type of ship you want to focus down, in this case the Revestras. We can kill them faster and more consistently than we can these little Sulceracs, and the Sulceracs don't really do that much damage against our structures. So here you can see we already lost a turret. We've actually managed to build another one, though, in that amount of time. They are destroying our stuff faster than we're actually building them, though, so we do have to keep that in mind. But we're rushing our mothership over here along with a bunch of our disciples, so we're probably going to be relatively okay. By which I mean, this is a repeat, I've done this before.
Military structure complete.
Now, each of these Revestra skirmishers is about, I'd say you can kill off... If you lose, I'd say 3 Revestras to 1 turret at that ratio, I think that the turrets are actually doing fine, ratios-wise. I'm not 100% sure what we've done for numbers here. This thing's been getting shot at by these Gauss guns as well, so that's been lowering the health of this thing by quite a lot. But as you can see, we finally made it in with our fleet. These little guys are shooting the wrong stuff. The stuff I actually want to shoot at is like literally hiding. And they've got their abilities coming in, but Mothership in the way now is using its shield burst ability, and that's going to keep all of these laser defense platforms just completely healthy. And this is why the Mothership is so good in the early game when you're building these defensive structures, because they can keep these laser defense platforms in the game for an incredibly long time. They're very, very powerful for that sort of defensive purpose. And here you can see we're still just getting up like more defenses. Our opponent is still pouring in more and more of these Revastras. They're going to keep pouring in Revastras, but we also have Antimatter Pod and Plasma Nova Generator being built on our Mothership, but that's not super important. Disciples have finally started attacking the right targets here. Problem with the Gauss weapon platforms is that they don't actually have shields, so I can't keep them alive with this, so we have to keep them alive from the fact that they've got heavier armor, but I hate that there's a rock here. It's just, I wish I could move that visually so that I didn't have to see it. I don't think they actually do anything. For tech, we're continuing along here. We're just trying to get all the stuff that's going to get us more resources. That's really what we're concerned with. We do have some desire to get more push from our culture, because that culture push is going to let us get faster sort of crystals, as well as like alliance gain. So at this point in time, our opponent has like been pushed off. And you might think, well, this is a good opportunity for us to go chase after that capital ship that managed to get away. And it's just right here. The problem is they've got all these defenses over here. Typically speaking, like if you chase, this thing will just continue running away. They've got a whole bunch of Revestra skirmishers here. They've got those defenses. They've got their fleet that retreated back there. And they're going to be trickling in constant streams of reinforcements there. It's dangerous in this game to actually chase into enemy territory, even if it's just an asteroid. They can defend their stuff just as much as I can. So generally speaking, like, just take the win that you can get and leave it sort of at that. Over here, I think that we're just like still ignoring our military techs. We should actually be doing more of this a little bit more elegantly, but I was focusing a little bit too much on the fight and our buildings there. You can see we're also focusing more of our effort onto our resources. Let's take a look at our income now, though. We're getting 41.7 on that. We're getting 11 and 14.5. If you take a look at these guys there, they're still getting more credits. They're still getting more metal. They're still getting more crystals. So that's just kind of the way of it in this sort of sense there. So we are playing against, I'm pretty sure, the aggressive AI. They've popped into this world to try and take it now that they have to. But they really did want to sort of take out my stuff instead. This is also going to mean that this is a slightly slower expansion just because they've lost a bunch of their ships. But I don't think that they're in low enough numbers to actually take any losses here. I'm pretty sure they're actually just going to kill everything without taking any damage. Still, though, that does give me time to take Xantra. And taking Xantra is going to give me that sort of opportunity to figure out that they're pushing here. Because we're going to sort of see that, and we're using this as a sort of planet that we're using as a litmus test. We're not actually using this to hold. So at this point in time, our fleet is still just, we're trying to get more and more and more of these disciples. They're very powerful against the kinds of ships that we're actually fighting against right now, so they're really important to get. We still have this little squad there, and our capital ships here. I think we're contemplating getting Halcyon, but we're not actually going to. Yeah, I think I was thinking about getting a Halcyon, but I never end up committing to it. The thing about it is, like, I kind of want to get access to things like the ritualized instruction before I get those, but either way, we got Arya's on the way here. I think it's a mistake to try and get the Arya unlocked too early. So we're not, like, super concerned about doing that. Yeah, at this point in time, we're getting our exotics. This is where I was thinking about getting a Halcyon with the exotics that we get, but logistics upgrade complete. So a whole bunch of the planets that we got here are just these little cheap asteroids. They're really bad. They're, like, not that important for us. But we've just mostly got them because it means that our opponent has to take that extra time to, like, chew their way through them. Xantra over here, very dangerous spot for it to be. Not really any point in keeping that or holding it. But it tells me, like, if they move their fleet over to Xantra, I know that they moved over to Xantra. And that gives me that sort of forewarning I need to start building up defenses on, like, Lotharos, which is, I think we're starting to actually fortify that. Managed to get this. That's really lucky, but we actually don't want to use that right now because we want to save that for, like, a Justicia or something like that, which is what we end up putting that on, but that's quite a bit later on. So this planet is fortified, but this is actually much easier to crack through than you would think. So we are going to have to keep an eye on that. We can't be too complacent about this. Mothership is up here in Oriana. We're just trying to get access to this stuff. We want our mothership to actually give us, like, resurrection. So that's kind of why we're sort of rushing level ups on that one. So here we can see, like, our opponent's got this big mass, and they're heading it over towards Xantra. And once they've taken Xantra, that's going to have told us that they've, you know, committed to this area. We're going to start moving all our forces down to Lotharos. I think they actually end up attacking us at Salopia instead, though, but...
Done and dusted.
This is why I dislike Lythor Cluster, though. I sort of mentioned this. You get this situation where you've got, like, all of these different planets that in different ways for your opponent to attack you through. Because there's 3 different places that we could get attacked, plus this one. And they can go through the sun there and just go straight to Marionis without going through our defenses. Like, they can just bypass that. So I think that there's a real sort of desire in this game to, like, try to defend in multiple places, and you just can't defend everywhere. So these guys actually back off, which is kind of weird, but then they decide not to back off, and I think they end up actually heading towards the sun here. And then they go from the sun over to Salopia, if I recall correctly. Actually, no, I think they do get drawn down to Lotharos. You can see that we're scrambling our defenses here. Iconis Guardians are in. We got these actually before the carriers. Having a handful of these guys is going to be a little bit better for us from our defensive stance than having the other option there. So, continuing along, getting our defenses up. Here's where I sort of see the, like, little bit of them there. I don't remember if I actually reacted to that properly, but I think I did, actually. So this thing actually gets spotted by them, and I think that that's actually what causes them to start showing up here. Start rotating the planet, getting these things into position a little bit, but I think that actually reduces our production time. So once I see that they hopped in on this side too, I think I had to stop the rotation here. But we have got this big blob of disciples down here, and we clear out these Revestras very, very fast. No problem whatsoever. The problem is that we're going to get jumped by a big group of other stuff. And this is going to be much, much harder for us to deal with what we've got here, so...
Mining upgrade complete.
Don't panic in these situations. Just keep calmly building what you can. We want to destroy these Carrastra Destructors. If the Carrastra Destructors are still here, then they can actually do some stuff. We're blowing up a ton of these Revastras here. But the Carrastra here goes down pretty quickly, mostly to fire from our towers. We're building more towers here the whole time. We're also getting a lesser factory. The factory is going to be used to just keep our stuff alive, because it's got a heal ability. Here we can see, like, they've sent in even more stuff, including their damaged Jerasul. But we're still pushing through with these disciples. They're doing a ton of damage to these Revastras without taking that much damage themselves, thanks to these powerful Iconis Guardians. And we've got these laser defense platforms constantly coming in. I've actually built a couple in a bad spot here. Mothership's able to come in here at this point in time. And since the Mothership has also got the Plasma Pulse, I'm able to sort of, like, maneuver my way in here. Use a Plasma Pulse, deal a whole bunch of damage to a whole bunch of these Revastras, make them a little bit easier to chip down with our ships here. Because they're already pre-damaged, we can kill them off a little bit faster. Then we can kill the next one a little bit faster, and then so on and so forth. Mothership has made a level here, and has immediately got access to Rebirth, which unfortunately pops instantly, which we did not want. But we want to get to the point where we've got a few more ships before we have that popping. Still, though, we have another group here that's warped in. We called this in with the Evion's Fine Frigates, because we got access to that, and we're starting to get our carriers into play here. One of their capitals has been destroyed by fire from these Gauss cannons here. We're still firing. We still want to destroy all their Revastra skirmishers, sorry. If we can get rid of all those guys, like, it just drops their DPS by the most for the least amount of effort, basically, is what we're looking to do here. And we're just going to be getting, like, a bunch of carriers at this point in time. We don't need too many. We are actually, like, already at a point where I probably want, like, maybe 10 of them. But it's going to be a while before we can actually get there. So, again, we're not going to chase into the enemy here. It would be a mistake for us to jump into this place here with all this sort of stuff that they've got here. Although, they've only got, like, the Fleet Beacon, they've also got the Regeneration Bay that adds a lot of extra hit points to them. Now, they're going to actually do something interesting here. They just pop in with, like, just this thing. I send a little, like, small squad to go deal with that, but they're actually going to send a force to go attack Salopia. And it's basically just exactly the same guys that they had before. At this point, we're dropping a Transcentia. But yeah, just very strange that they just hop this in here at this point in time. I'm spreading my fire out incorrectly at this point, but what I would love is if I had the ability to actually get these Canrack Assailants, which the enemy started out getting. They are destroying our laser defense platforms surprisingly quickly, but that's again because I'm not killing off these Revastros properly or quickly enough. So as you can see, we overreacted, sent way too much stuff down to here. But we are able to...
Harmony research complete.
Actually, I think we might lose this planet here. I can't remember very well. I know that we lose some planets in this game. And I think this might be one of those situations, but... The Canrack Assailants are extremely deadly. Like, they do so much damage right now against capital ships and other heavy assets. They don't do very much damage against, like, some of your stuff, like some of your lighter ships, but they are super, super deadly. I think I actually hold here. You can see we're taking, like, a bunch of chip damage to all over this Transcentia here. Because it's not built yet, it takes double damage. Might actually take more than that. In comes, like, a little squadron of these guys here. Because we've been building in the background, we're actually kind of doing better than you'd think.
We are stronger now. Logistics upgrade.
But yeah, here's the Transcentia. It's up now.
It's transcendent.
And here comes our swarm of disciples. We should actually be using all these disciples to go after these Canracks.
Time to bid. Place them eye.
But we're having them firing at the wrong things completely here. These guys should not be really fighting at the Solstarak Defensors. They're not really that dangerous to these guys, and yeah. At this point in time, opponent forced to flee.
Done and dusted.
And we're going to have to spend some time getting ourselves back up. And again, they retreat back into their territory. They've got a bunch of built-up defenses. It's, again, dangerous for us to pursue, so we're not going to. And again, they're sending us some stuff to harass us on Pelion. I can't remember how long it takes for me to figure out that I need to, like, do a little bit of a split force, but it does take me a while. So we have a big advantage in terms of, like, spacing and everything like that at this point in time. This starbase is going to make it so that this place is fairly secure once it's actually healed back up, and we're going to actually get the shield burst on it. We're healing it up with our carrier, with our mothership, and we're going to be getting, like, eventually a factory. We're rotating these guys back into position to fight again. Enemy here, like, they're kind of locked into position here. They don't have a ton. Now that we've seen that they've got what they've got here, we've actually immediately teched up to Hostility 3, and we're going to start getting the Vigilus pretty soon here. And that's going to make it so we can fight back against the Canracks. You're going to see how important that is in like, not very long. If you don't have access to, like... If you don't have access to Vigiluses to fight Canrack Assailants, you're just hooped. It's really bad.
Hostility research complete.
Here we can see that we've, like, started rotating this into position, but we've also, like, got all these guys sort of heading towards us. They got this big wave of Canracks that just came out of nowhere that's going to sort of head towards this, but... We got multiple spots to defend here. You can see the power of the mass that we've got here, though, as far as, like, how it's saying that our stuff goes. You might notice something a bit weird. I've got my stuff in all these separate hotkeys here, or not hotkeys, but battle groups. And that is for a reason, but primarily speaking, if you've got all of your stuff in, like, different little groups here, it's easier to sort of, like, move them in a clump if you want them like clustered together, if you don't want them sort of spreading out. Which in my case, I don't want them spreading out, so that's why that's a good thing. Cataract Assailants are just outside of the reach of a bunch of our stuff here, as you can see, but we're popping their front line really effectively. This Gauss defense platform's also too far back, but if they want to push forward and actually do something here, then they're going to have to move up towards us. What we need is to get the additional like damage range on diffusion moderation that would actually make it so that a lot of the stuff would suddenly be in range here. Mothership's popping in, they're just going to like chase off this Quartal here, and all their other stuff runs away as well. So Mothership doesn't actually need to get into the fight here, really. We just need to make sure that we're safe. And at this point in time, we've got like our force of these guys over here in Pelion, while the rest of our stuff is hanging up at Salopia. I'm going to go ahead and actually switch this up to ×5. So at this point in time, like, we are interested in getting like access to the Vigiluses and getting a really big blob of them. We're going to see that we've been attacked down here, but we got this Transcensia. We're going to move in with all these Disciples, and during this fight, like, we can actually fight back against Canrax in this position because we've got like such heavy ships, like the defenses. You've got all these aircraft carriers that are coming in, and Disciples can kill Canrax really, really quickly. However, it can get to a point where there's a critical mass of Canrax that are capable of countering and destroying your key targets faster than your Disciples can kill them. And so while Disciples are a counter to the Canrac, you could lose like very valuable high priority targets before the Disciples can actually do their damage. And if that happens, then you're in a lot of trouble. Now, in this case, we are chasing. Our opponent has decided to jump towards Fad. So I see this and I'm like, okay, so I will chase this time. And the reason is, if you jump into a solar area, you have a severe limitation on where you can run to. So our forces are going to end up back up here in a little second here. And these guys are going to be trying to like get across this gravity wall. And they're going this way for some reason. I'm not 100% sure why that is, but here you can see all my forces draining back into the system here. And these guys are all moving in after these Canarac Assailants. We're going to try and finish those off. The nice thing about the aircraft carriers, they're very, very, very fast moving. So we're going to actually have them chase down the Quartal. And even though like the bombers, I don't think ever actually reach in this case. They're not moving fast enough. The fighters are actually going to be able to kill this Quartal. Like, we got 144 fighters, even though they're only doing a little bit of damage per second each. There's so many of them that you can actually watch this thing getting its health shredded really quickly. And with that happening, this Quartal is going to be able to just die here. Nothing they could do to save it. Basically, all of these Canracs, we're going to ignore them for a second while we go ahead and kill off this Jerusalem Evacuator. And that's going to be 2 dead things there. As you can see, we're still getting like defenses everywhere. We actually built up a defense over on even Pelion here. Unfortunately, our opponent decides to just going to fly right past it. And that is unfortunate, because that means that they're just hopping from world to world and hitting stuff that's undefended and forcing me to do all sorts of reactive stuff. Starting to get these Vigiluses. That's going to be neither here nor there. Here we play like a little bit of Ring Around the Rosie, where I'm basically forced to send stuff like all around the place, try and get them. Whereas my opponent here is like forced to fight into like this kind of stuff with reinforcing groups. We've got like a Halcyon out now. We're starting to get some more capital ships, but we're not as concerned about that kind of element as we are with some other ones. This thing's just jumping back and forth to piss me off, basically. But here you can see that they've jumped a bunch of stuff over to here. We've got this little squad of guys here, but they can't really actually kill anything before they get to the next phase lane. So, plus they're sending an Antarak Marauder. This might be because they've got a Marauder, they've decided that they're going to do a bit of marauding. Or maybe they don't have Marauder here. I thought they did. Here we managed to catch up with enough of a blob that we can actually destroy all those guys, but they still have this little group over here, and we're just all over the place. Meanwhile, while we're distracted, they managed to freely take Gaia. So, it's important when you're playing this to like be in all of these fights, because like your opponent is basically going to be in a situation where they're able to force me to like put out all these little fires here, and that's going to sort of distract me. But if you have enough forces, you can get into a situation where it's like, okay, well, we're facing all these forces. We discovered that they're up there, they're entrenched, so we're actually going to hop out of there again. I thought I could just cheekily pick up the ruins that were there to get the points from that, but yeah, we made a wrong jump there trying to chase these guys. Meanwhile, speaking of wrong jumps, our opponent like hops everything into here. We're going to run away with these guys while our carriers get to do the brunt of what's going on here. And here we get to see something important here. So if we had not got these Vigilises, we would be getting absolutely shredded here, but you can see all these missiles from all these Canrax just basically evaporating. They've got a few heavy missiles coming in from their capitals that are coming in, but for the most part, they're not capable of actually doing any damage to us. The carriers can do damage to these Canrax, but they would have already killed my Halcyon by now if I didn't have Vigilises. And there's not really any ship in the game that I could have taken instead of these Vigilises that would have saved the Halcyon. Even if I had another Halcyon, even if I had another 2 Halcyons. These capital ships, plus all of these Canrax assailants, would absolutely have killed off like this capital ship here. This thing would be dead by now. It's basically actually healthy in this instance. Here we can see like they've lost a whole bunch of their Canrax assailants. They're going to keep losing stuff. We don't have our gigantic blob of frigates either. Like, we didn't even bother bringing them. We're frontlining with the Vigilises. We got a bunch of these Iconis Guardians. We got our mothership. But our carriers here, they're just sort of like chilling back here. They're not really doing much. But they are bringing the damage. Like, this is a lot of damage coming from those carriers, taking out these Canrax assailants very rapidly. You can see them just sort of melting under the fighter fire. Fighters are actually perfectly fine in Canrax assailants. They've only got 120 durability, so they're shaving a little bit of damage off us, but not a ton. Meanwhile, the bombers are turning apart this Antrak Marauder pretty effectively here. Here we can see our Vigilis numbers are increasing. Halcyon has taken a decent amount of damage overall, but like we're getting access to the shield bursts in a little bit there. We've already like been healing a bit of health. I had to move it a bit so it gets in range of the mothership, and you can see we still don't have back our big old blob of these things. These guys are actually trying to link up with the enemy. I'm trying to link up with myself now. But we're about to get the turning point of this fight, even though we're already winning it really badly. You can see like that the Canrax assailant numbers cannot hold. They're losing these things so quickly. This is where like the carriers shine, is where they're able to just deal damage like this without having to worry about fighters. And that's another thing that's really strong about the Vigilises. Because the Vigilis is so strong at point defense and sort of like staying there in the front line and not dying, a handful of Vigilises are actually extremely powerful into this sort of situation here where your opponent has also got some carrier capacity and stuff like that. We're also destroying these heavy missiles from this Antrak Marauder that came back in here for some reason. The Scarantra is about to die. Like, they have carrier capacity. You don't see a single fighter from our opponent here. And that's for a reason. Like, they're just not going to be able to. Canrax all getting blown up real fast here. Now that we got this frigate blob, they're just going to tear straight through there. I don't even know if I can actually bring anything back here. Yeah, our resurrection number is 0. Like, we can't actually resurrect anything. Took out their Scarantra. It's going to be an important thing down. The Cortovises are actually pretty tough. We can kill them with the bombers, but they're actually pretty durable otherwise. You can see that we're just continuing this fight here. Disciple Blob gets hit pretty hard by a subspace rupture, but at this point in time, our opponent is forced to flee. And we're getting pretty close to the point where I do want to chase. But I can't remember if I actually do here yet. I'm not sure why we're splitting our fire the way we're doing. It's a little bit unfortunate there. I think I actually do organize myself to chase here. Yep. You'll eventually reach a point where it is better to just go wipe out the enemy, and I think we're roughly reaching that point here. So in terms of tech, you can see that I've gotten up to like Tech 4 and Tech 4 here. We're trying to unlock Justicias. That's going to be the next step of our strategy here. We're already earning, at this point in time, 58.3, 19.6, 26.6. We're probably actually pretty close to what the Visari are getting. They're still ahead of us, but it's definitely not by as much. They've actually decided to flee with their forces there. This gives me a free opportunity to like bombard the hell out of their planet with our mothership and our Halcyon. I make a mistake here. We take this planet, and instead of properly reinforcing it, I actually leave while our defenses are being built, and they just come in and blow it all up, and I have to retake it again. But don't do what I'm doing here. In this case, like what we should have done is we should have taken this. We should have waited until we had it reinforced, and then left. But here you can see like their opponent is building up their forces. They're trying to retake this planet here. And you can see they've got quite a buildup of forces here, but we've got a pretty much bigger force than they've got here. Disciples, just for killing certain types of targets, they're going heavy on Cataracts. These are killing the Cataracts. You got these guys there for both killing the Cataracts and for other things, but here you can see, like I said, we made a mistake here.
Exotics have been unveiled by our scryers.
So in comes like a trillion dudes. They just retake the planet. I head back there again. They don't even take it.
The Unity will survive this loss.
They actually retake it, and I actually retake it afterwards. But here I see that like they're jumping towards me, so I actually stop the jump that I'm doing towards them. So, and here comes like all their stuff. All our stuff's gonna come back here as well. All our stuff's a little bit out of position here, honestly. We're still building our defenses. The Vigiluses are facing the wrong way, and that actually does make a difference with their point defenses, so I do need to turn them around. I've got them set to hold position. It makes it so that they'll just stay in point defense in the right direction, but since they're facing the wrong way, we're not destroying anywhere near as many missiles as I should be. You can see that I get this fixed here at this moment. We're having our Disciples kill off the Junseracs so that we can actually have our Strike Craft start doing some more work here. We can see that we're still getting hit by some missiles, but you can see, like, not anywhere near as many. Vigiluses are doing a good job here. I figured that the Junseracs are no longer capable of actually keeping our fighters completely suppressed, so we go after the Cataracts. And if we can lower the number of shots from the Cataracts by just a little bit, then it basically guarantees that none get through the Vigiluses, which are capable of doing just fine there. The Cortovises are something I'm worried about. I do not like getting hit by those. But with all the Vigiluses that we got here, and we've actually just recalled a bunch with Resurrection here, we're able to get our forces back online here. And with that, really no chance that any of their missiles make it through. With just the beams and with the wave cannons and stuff like that, they're not really capable of actually killing my mothership anymore. I had to cancel our Transcensia. It's taking too much chip damage from stuff. I'm not even sure what, necessarily. So we cancel that, we get the money back, but gonna have to build another one at a better time when we're under less fire here. Still, we're building a bunch of defenses in the back line here. This Arya drone host I keep letting get killed. I'm not 100% sure even what by. I think it's by this drone migrator, which is very funny. That's a point defense gun they're firing at this.
We have come to cleanse the corruption.
In comes the Justicia.
Military structure complete.
And again, more defenses being built up in the back line while more of these guys getting put in. Our opponent has a bunch of these Jusotra fabricator cruisers that they're building all these ships from, so they're basically capable of getting unlimited resources into the fight, but it doesn't really matter to me that they are, because that just means they're not building stuff elsewhere to send to do, you know, awful things to us in new places, so this is kind of fine. You might notice we have the antimatter pod and the plasma nova generators sets that we're not using them, And that's because they have passive bonuses that we're using that were there. Since they're very, very cheap, it's actually kind of good to have those passive bonuses. Mothership is taking some serious damage at this point in time, but so is their Cortal, which is I think the thing that's actually causing damage to our Mothership. The Mothership gets its shields back, is being protected by an Iconus, so... And in comes the Justitia, at which point our opponent's Cortal explodes. I do need to push this forward so I can get Reinvigorate to start working on my Mothership, but it doesn't really matter too much. The Mothership's pretty much safe at this point in time. You can see that Harvest stack's going off there a little bit, but it's not really that important. And here comes finally another blob of frigates here that was off patrolling and doing other things. At this point in time, we're going after the Lacerax. You can see that our fighter numbers are starting to climb back up a little bit, but they're going to go down immediately again. They're running into that problem of our opponent has all these point defense guns on everything, and they're chipping down our fighters, but we have to sort of just destroy enough of these Lacerax that we can start getting that critical mass up in our favor again. Because if we have that happening in our favor, then our opponent is basically completely screwed. Second of the Justitias is around now, and we've been fighting this entire fight, basically taking like very few losses. Let's see what we could get here. 5 Vigiluses, 2 Pirate Rogues, 3 Revestras, 24 Disciples, 7 Cobalt Light Frigates. That's virtually nothing compared to what our opponent's been losing. So, like you can see here, he's just losing a bunch of Lacerac transporters here. These things are very expensive. And their numbers are dropping quite quickly.
Time to bid. Place an eye.
Hostility research complete.
Yeah, don't underestimate Vigiluses as well when you've got this many fighting Cortova suppressors. It's actually kind of depressing when you've got this kind of a numbers disparity, because the Cortovus is obviously supposed to be the much stronger of the two options here. Progenitor has been slowly getting healed up thanks to the Reinvig from the Justitia. Second Justitia in the fight, and I think our opponent runs away fairly shortly after this. And defenses up here are also pretty much basically built. So what I should technically kind of be doing here, you can see our fighter numbers are like way higher now. We've been increasing them pretty quickly.
Our forces have engaged the enemy.
But, yeah, you can sort of see, like, our opponent's sort of forced to flee there, and our fighter numbers have started climbing up again. Because we've got lots of Vigiluses, and we got the ability to destroy those Lacerac transporters. I accidentally ended up having, like, some of our stuff, like, still back here. I think we lose a couple carriers from that, but it's not really a big deal. So, yeah, at this point in time, we have got the ability to fully fortify here. And what we're going to actually see us doing is properly fortifying this time. Our third Justitia is on the way. We're building one of each kind of Justitia. I'm not the sort of person who's like, the Savior Locust is the only thing we need. But as you can see, we've got like a fairly humble number of carriers here. We have 16. This is pretty late in the game. We've got way, way, way more invested into our front line. We've got 45 Vigiluses, which is still, you know, probably, well, it's probably enough, actually. 45 is a great number, actually. But, like, yeah, we're starting to get more carriers, and I think we cap out, like, 26 of them in this game. I jump over here for some damn reason, when, again, I should probably actually just be jumping into there, but got a finished Transcensia this time. It's capable of, you know, holding for a little while. Our fleet moves back into here again. I can't remember if they actually destroy this Transcensia or not. I think they do, actually.
Our shields are offline.
No, they don't. They don't, actually. I remember now.
The unity can save us now.
Or maybe they do.
Products have been unveiled by our scryers. Hostility research complete.
Yeah, we got this thing healed up to the point where it's, like, fine. We got these guys moving in front of all of those Cataracts. So all the missiles are getting blown up now. All these fighters are getting blown up now. And unfortunately, our opponent decides they're not going to run away the way I want them to. They're going to run straight into the heart of my territory. It's just like, but... You can see the Lacerax getting popped here. We got enough fighters to really sort of, like, completely demolish them there. Yeah, Transcensia managed to live just barely. We got this lesser factory building up here.
Structure complete. Our forces
And we're forced to sort of send some stuff to like go chase, and we end up on this stupid Mary Goose chase here.
Our forces have engaged the enemy. Defilers encroach upon
So these guys are going to run around in circles for like forever while they try to annoy me, basically. Our defenses here basically back up. It's fine.
Our forces have engaged the enemy.
They no longer have access to Gaia. We now have to worry about defending here,
Engaged the enemy.
since they've sort of lost the phase lane to there.
Complete.
Pelion, like, they've got stuff actually just moving through here at this point in time, so we have to actually start worrying about the fact that they're just sending stuff. I don't actually know what the AI is trying to do here, if I'm totally honest with you. It feels kind of like what they're trying to do is gather their fleet together, and once they've gotten their fleet sort of more together, they're capable of, like, maybe fighting me or whatever.
Our forces
Managed to take out this Cortal because it wanders into the wrong neighborhood and can't get out of here.
is all. Desecrators assault our world.
But we're still forced to just send forces around in a circle in a merry loop here.
Hostility research complete.
This group is not really that good at fighting. They've got like a crippled Lacerak and a whole bunch of Dressota fabricators. But we can't leave the Dressotras alone, so at this point in time we're building a bunch of like, what's it called? Transcensias all over the place. Here you can see we managed to take out all these Dressotras that were in our back line here. They're trying to build stuff to desperately like fend off my attack, but
Harmony research
not really capable of doing that, and we've finally gotten rid of them. So now we can start moving our stuff back up to the front lines here. Getting a lot of levels on our stuff from all these fights, too.
research complete.
Now we are going to start working on getting towards Tech
All right.
5 for both of these, but it's pretty late on.
Hostility
One of the bigger problems right now is that we actually have to get these Justitias and everything like itemed up, but
research complete.
we're pretty much like capped, so we can go ahead and push. We haven't gotten our Titan, but we don't really need it in this case.
The item is complete.
So that's not really what we're thinking about here.
Our will is transcendent. Military structure.
Oppressors just hop in, immediately die there.
Civilian structure complete.
They can't really use that route the way they want to anymore here, and I'm still not sure where they're trying to get to.
Civilian structure.
Managed to head over to Xantra. We got Quell, so this starbase is turned off. You can see it's not firing at us at all, and it just gets shredded down in like seconds here.
Harmony research complete.
That's our transporter trying to get away from us, but does explode.
Hostility research complete.
And we can take out all of this stuff in no time flat here.
Military structure complete.
The completion of this item makes us stronger.
Capable of bombarding the planet down in seconds as well. Those Vex amplifiers are very good. I don't actually know if I've got those yet.
Another planet joins.
Yeah, looks like they're actually built.
Harmony research complete. Defilers encroach upon us.
You can see here they've decided to hop over here and then immediately run
Forces
away.
have engaged the enemy. Hostility research complete.
I want to go a little bit over the build that we're going for here. These guys were getting, like, obviously the psi power boosts, because we want those for the effects here. We're not in combat, so this is missing a bunch of percentage bonuses, but they're capable of doing quite a lot of damage, or reducing a lot of damage. For this guy, we're getting, of course, the psi power as well. Psychonet playing to keep it alive a little bit more effectively, but the Halcyons are doing something a bit weird. We got a bunch of psi power, then we got the Vex amplifier and the energy accelerator. This makes it so that their point defenses, they can fire them from really far away, but we've got a 6.6 damage per second point defense on 8 of these. So once that ramps, we're getting actually even more out of that. So a bunch of Halcyons with that are pretty good point defense. I was saying earlier that they're not actually very good as point defense. Once they've got this combination, they're a lot better. But even with it, they're still kind of only meh as far as that goes. With more levels, they also get stronger at that.
Power to jump drive.
Still, either way, whole fleet jumping its way into the enemy over here. And we've basically ended up on top of their entire fleet, and we're just going to be able to body them. They can't do jack when they're sitting on top of 3 Transcensias, because the Transcensias just keep everything in the blob alive, while they themselves are taking humongous extra damage.
Our forces have
So basically all this stuff is just evaporating immediately, and they can't do anything about it, really.
hostility research complete. Production of the
Orculus yet again going down pretty fast. A whole bunch of our ships chasing after their Laceraks. They're going down very fast. I think that there is some value to having like things like Disciples, but I would like it actually if they died so I could replace them. I would definitely consider actually getting a Titan if I had the pop cap for it, but we've lost, I think, what, like 3 ships during that entire push?
Be a lesson. Next time, pay up.
We lost 1 Iconus Guardian and 1 Disciple during that entire push. So yeah, that's kind of the power of like having a bunch of Vigiluses as well as having a bunch of like Strikecraft. Makes it very hard for your opponent to actually play into you.
Hostility research complete.
And at this point in time, we're just grinding down their planets slowly, steadily. We're just going calm.
Cleanse the planet of heathens.
We're going to go ahead and start building up this irradiated planet just because it'll make it so that they can't be behind me. But honestly speaking, I could probably just jump straight towards them at this point in time. It's just I'd be worried that they'd come around to flank and retake Destris, Drestus, whatever, and that would be very annoying for me to have to deal with. So we're fortifying it up. We're waiting until we got a bunch of defenses. It's overkill, but
Hostility research complete. Hostility research complete.
that is what it is. Over here, they run away from us yet again.
Hey, no bid, no deal.
Hostility research complete.
Now, I want to actually check our comparative economies at this point in time. I'm getting 76, 26, and 37. I think they're still probably getting more than me. Way less of that one, about a little bit more than me there. And we're actually pretty comparable. So like I said, it's not so much about like comparative income. It's not about whether or not you're making more money than the AI. It's about how efficient your trades are. Because like whenever we've been getting in fights, they're losing way, way, way more value than I am. Because the amount of money that the AI cheats in is just ridiculous. Like, this isn't the Vasari have a much stronger eco than Advent thing. We've been on more planets than they have been the entire time, by enough that it would actually make a huge difference in terms of eco. And they're not supposed to be getting any credit income whatsoever. It's the game is like rigged kind of situation because we're against the very hard AI. Like, obviously. Here we're onto their cap. And once again, like, they've got these Orculuses. This one's got, like, full efficiency hangars. They can't even get the debris reintegration going because they're disabled from Quell. Their carrier function still works, actually, I noticed, but I'm kind of not surprised by that, if I'm totally honest with you. You can see this little fur ball here. You can see that our Strikecraft, because we got so many of them, just completely body them. Strikecraft are one of those things in this game that like becomes multiplicative rather than additive, where like outnumbering your opponent by a little bit is not very good, but outnumbering them by a lot is. Where it's like there's a certain point where you could be equal to one another, and you sort of like don't get much value out of your carriers, and they don't get much value out of their carriers. So it's good in the sense of like shutting them down. That's what you want defensively. But if you've got like an overwhelming amount of carriers, then you just sort of beat their carriers and they don't have the ability to fight back at all. And as a result, it's like if you're way behind already in like point defense or carriers or something like that, sometimes it's best to just give up on trying to like counter it until you got an advantage, like destroying everything with your disciples, destroying all the enemy Lacerax or whatever. So that's game. And as you can see, yeah, we didn't have to take all their planets. We didn't bother taking these 3. They didn't really have any defenses around them or anything like that. They didn't have any major production that I really care about. So, yeah. That's pretty much everything there was to go in this game. Build lots of defenses. They're great. If we take a look at what we ended up having here, we can see this planet here heavily fortified. If we take a look at this planet, pretty heavily fortified. And this planet here, somewhat heavily fortified. You got that across all our planets, basically. And this kind of defenses makes it so that our opponent can't like run past us, but also it helps Advent because their culture spread gets propagated by the star bases. It also helps in the sense of like just not having to react in every single direction to every small group that heads your way. We actually have got star bases on like other planets like this one. We got another one on our home world over here. Like, we just have to have star bases sort of, like, everywhere at a certain point. And they become sort of cheap enough that you can build them everywhere. And I think that that's actually especially true for Advent and Tech, where you can get eco out of them. So, yeah, there's a lot to love about doing that sort of thing there. In any event, though, that's kind of everything I want to talk about. In summary, like, with your carriers, you're just sort of getting them. They're going to be in the back there. You want most of everything to be invested in your front line. We actually ended up getting quite a few carriers by the end game here. We got 23 Aria drone hosts. But when you think about like our total supply here, That's actually not that many RA drone hosts. That's 460 supply worth. That's like less than a quarter. We've actually got just about as much individualists, and then like a whole bunch of various other things there. So in terms of like what you should be getting for these guys, the percentage can go up in the late game, especially if you're not getting Destro Crusaders or like capital spam. But in all honesty, like your Guardia Aria drone hosts, like they're a really powerful addition so long as you've got enough stuff up front that's surviving. As long as everything in the front is still alive, these guys are capable of doing their job. That's going to be where they're able to shine. If that doesn't happen, if they're getting like picked off or the enemy's just rushing past all this stuff here, these guys are not going to help you at all. Against the AI, you just want to hold down those like choke points and stuff like that. You want to defend all over the place. For builds, we don't really have a set one. We just want to be a little bit flexible there. And for the Vigilists and Justicia, they're both very, very strong. So anyway, that's pretty much everything I want to talk about today. Hope you found this one enjoyable. Of course, as always, hope to see you guys all next time.